Here we are again, Abuelo and the Nieto, number 45. We talk Miami sports. Andy Abuelo, uh, Rolly Martin, Miami Dolphins Spanish broadcaster. Over there, the Nieto, Tyler Carmona, writer for Sports Illustrated. And we focus on Miami sports. We'll be talking about the Dolphins training camp. They just started. Offensively, can this offense return to the numbers of 2023? The production also. Rodrigo De Paul is getting to the Inter Miami, makes them without a doubt the great favorite to win the title in the MLS, in our opinion. Also, Marlins talking about the possibility of trades as the deadline gets closer. Will Alcantara will be here, yes or no? So we got a lot to talk about in our podcast, Tyler. So we're ready to go.
Yes, definitely. So we'll start off. I got we do our number game as always, and I got somebody, a local legend, starting from the, high school ranks at Miami Norland, went on to be a great player for the Miami Hurricanes. Darren Smith, number 45, linebacker for the Miami Hurricanes, went on to play for the Dallas Cowboys, won a couple Super Bowls, but, while he was at Miami, very dominant player, two-time All-American, Big East Defensive Player of the Year, multiple Big East selections. And like I said, went on to the Cowboys, went on to help them win a couple Super Bowls, was an all-rookie team guy over there. So very productive player, 800 tackles almost throughout his NFL career. And he was in the College Football Hall of Fame, actually. He was inducted this season. So back in 2025, was inducted into that College Football Hall of Fame. So definitely a local legend, Darren Smith. And, talking some more football, Dolphins training camp is starting to get underway. We got some rookies starting to show up. People are starting to trickle in, periodically. And I think it's the same thing every fan has, is wishing for. We see the same guys out there. This team hasn't broken up yet like some people were worried or expecting. We got Hill, Waddle's out there, Achan is still out there. So the question I have for you is, how close do you think we can get to see that offense we saw a couple of years ago where we were, breaking records, having week in, week out these, 70-point games? Do you think that's attainable again?
Wow, that 2023 offense, number one offense in the league. And before I forget, Curtis Johnson, another 45, a great 45, the corner for Miami in the 70s. He won two Super Bowls with the Dolphins. It's not going to be easy to get back to 2023 numbers because what has happened, Tyler, is that those defenses have adjusted, and especially that 20, 25-yard pass down the middle, that was being, yeah, they were getting those plays in 2023. Those safeties are staying back now. It's a lot more difficult to do. But I think that this offense definitely could be one of the top 5 or 6 offenses in the league because I think they have an opportunity of being stronger offensively. They have a better offensive line on paper. Of course, we're talking, all of this is on paper right now, okay? But, Daniels, coming from the Steelers, one of the top guards in the league, Sabayanea, the guard from Arizona. They're very impressed with him, the second round pick. So there's more depth in that offensive line. Then you have Mattinson, the running back, a big guy that can run inside. They need those situations of third down, fourth down, and one. They have not been getting those. If they start getting those, that means that they don't have to throw the ball on third down and 2. And stuff like that, and that makes the offense go a lot easier. And I think that maybe the two key guys additions would be Westbrook, number one, the 6'2" guy, the 6'2" receiver. 32 catches, 9 touchdowns last season. He can get the deep ball, excellent blocker. So you have a legit number 3, which definitely they did not have last year. Then they have the rookie from last year that ended up the season, the short 5'8" guy, Tyler. It reminds me of Tyler Carmona in college, but just a little taller. You were talking about him a few weeks back in Abuelo and the Nieto. So they have an opportunity. And of course, Waller, the tight end, 52 catches on 11 starts in 2023, the last time that he played in the NFL. And this is a guy that is 6'6". So this is a guy that can be explosive, especially when you have to worry about Waddle and you have to worry about Hill. But everything comes together, Tyler, to be able to come back to close to 23 numbers. if number one stays healthy. That
Yeah.
is the key. If number one is healthy, let's say for 14, 15 games, I'm not going to expect the 17, but even 14 or 15, they should be in pretty good shape.
No, I agree. I definitely think that if he's able to stay healthy and positive to think that because they're surrounding him with some guys who look like they could help protect him, help him stay healthy. So I mean, I think that's a lot. It's just a lot of poor timing with this team. Unfortunately, a lot of things just not matching up. Players being hurt at the wrong time. A lot of similar players being hurt at the same time. Like we've had two of the best receivers on the team hurt at once. Two of the best edge rushers on the team hurt at once. So I think if that just evens out, things will eventually even out naturally. Moving on to some more Miami sports. Talking Miami Marlins, Sandy Alcantara. That's something we've been talking about for a while, just in terms of his trade value, kind of fluctuating after that injury. He got off to a slow start, started to pick things up a little bit, but do you think now, it's definitely not his trade value isn't as how it was, during these Cy Young seasons, anything like that. But do you think they should capitalize it or just kind of cross their fingers and hope he gets back to that next level?
They got 2 more years on, that he's under contract. Tyler is over around 35 to, I think, 35, $37 million for 2 more years. If you cannot get top quality for him right now, if they were offering, the farm at the beginning of the season, or a year ago, whatever, when he had the Cy Young year, whatever, and now the value has gone down quite a bit, I would not trade him because this is a guy that once it clicks, and that might be at the end of the season, it may be at the beginning of next year, you're going to get top quality for him. So that is the time that you trade him. So, my opinion, if they're not getting top quality for him now, I would not trade him. The only thing that I am worried about at the same time is that I'm starting to hear, some some rumors regarding Stowers, the guy that made the All Star, game for Miami, the guy that has got 19 home runs as we start the second half of the season. Some rumors about Cabrera, maybe Sanchez, Junk, the pitcher. So I worry a little bit about that because I have the mentality, and you know about this. We have mentioned this many times in the podcast. Young guys that are talented, that are good, that are doing well for you, you keep, you keep. So I understand they're still building. I understand that part, but I would like to see them keep those guys. And if you don't get, you know, top level talent back now for Alcantara because he's got a 7.22 ERA as we, go into the weekend versus Kansas City, I would not make the move at this time. I wait for them to be able to get top talent because, this thing is not going to win the World Series this year. I'm not going to win it next year either, most likely. Maybe, hopefully I'm mistaken, maybe I made a mistake and that would be great. But, so there's no hurry and you got them for 2 more seasons.
Yeah, moving on a segment we've really been enjoying lately, and appreciate the support on it as well from the fans and the people who subscribe with us on all of these networks. Got our Hispanic athletes. Who are we talking about this week?
Well, Hispanic athlete, we're going to do it a little differently. We still got subject matter very important. We'll be talking about Rodrigo De Paul, how much of an impact it will be with Inter Miami. That will be later on. We got Miami sports trivia, and we have the fantasy football segment that people love from Tyler, Mr. Tyler Carmona. And at the same time, we remind you to subscribe. We need the subscriptions, especially in YouTube. Okay, subscribe in YouTube, going to Abuelo and the Nieto podcast, and subscribe. Also follow us on Facebook, on TikTok. We're everywhere. We're also in Spotify now, or audio version is in Spotify, even in X. So we're all over the place. Monday through Thursday, we have uh, the Miami Sports Minute, basically sports report, and that's doing very well. So Abuelo and the Nieto are growing. So we're going to do the Hispanic star athlete Tyler, and we're going to do it in Spanish this time around to change things around a little bit. We're bilingual. We're Miami. We're 305 with 786. So, this is what we are. We're recognizing today, estamos reconociendo hoy a Sergio El Kun Agüero, óigame, el delantero nativo de Argentina, uno de los grandes jugadores de la Liga Premier y de la historia del fútbol latinoamericano, brilló con Manchester City desde el 2011 al 2021, líder anotador en la historia del club, allá en la Premier con 184 goles, ganó 5 títulos de la Premier en el City. Su carrera comenzó con el Independiente allá en Argentina en el 2003. También jugó en Atlético de Madrid y Barcelona. En su carrera a nivel de club, 282 goles en 508 partidos, 2 mundiales juveniles con Argentina, que ganó en el 2005 y el 2007, eso a nivel de selección. El oro olímpico también a nivel de selección en el 2008, ganador de la Copa América en el 2021, uno de los grandes, óigame, Sergio Kun Agüero.
Definitely, happy to do that. Moving on to some summer league action. We aren't getting our Miami Heat fix just yet, but a lot of fans are definitely excited to see our rookie and really see the development to me of Kel'el Ware. After hearing Spoelstra kind of nudge him a little bit, he seemed like he was trying to light a fire under him. Mentioned he has some growth, both as a player and just as a man in general. Character wise, maturity wise. You got to remember a lot of these guys are 19, 20-year-olds. Think about how you would have handled it at that situation. So these players are still kind of going through that as well. So, getting a look at a lot of these young guys who are some, summer league guys who have caught your eye, whether it's a new face or maybe someone we're seeing who looks a little bit better than before.
Well, definitely Per Larson. The guy's done very well, and he works hard. He helped the team last season. A tough defender, plays very hard, attacks the basket very well. Still needs to get better with his 3-point shooting, but he averaged 18 points and 43% field goal. 43% field goal percentage in 3 games because he went to play in Europe now. So he's not available for the last couple of games of the summer league, but he did very well. And Kel'el Ware, Tyler, didn't start very well. He got some comments that were not very positive from Spoelstra, saying that he had to be more of a professional. And he reacted to that the right way. He reacted very positively on the court. And in the last couple of games, he was much better, 17 points, 10 rebounds, didn't play in the last game for them. So they're finishing up now Summer League. Still, Jacuciones, Tyler, the number 1 pick, the guard, I think is still a work in progress. He started in California in that portion of the Summer League, pretty bad, having turnovers and not efficient at all from 3-point, taking 3 points. But he got better in Las Vegas. He was more effective, and he had a 24-point game versus Atlanta. So I think he will be okay, but they need to work on some of the negatives that he still got as he comes into the league. We have to remember that he's only 19 years old. So this is a team that I think is better, definitely with Powell coming in. So some of these young guys have to also provide some help. So Jovic, Ware, Larson are going to be important, even more important than they were last season for this team.
Yes, 100%. I definitely agree with that. And I think, as you mentioned, I mentioned earlier, we need to remember these people are very young still. And this is a team that emphasizes youth development from their young players. So it's not going to be a black and white, night and day type thing. These players, we've seen it with Jovic, honestly, over the past couple of years. It takes some time, but the finished product, does look nice once it's ready. Moving on to our, final Miami sports topic of the day, probably the biggest news so far, though. Huge move for Inter Miami. Tell me who they got and how do you think this will help the team in the future? Does it make them a contender?
Well, definitely, Tyler. Rodrigo De Paul, we're talking about one of the best midfielders in La Liga with Atlético de Madrid. He was with Udinese before. And, this is a guy that is only 31 years old. So we're not talking, 35 or 37-year-olds going into Miami. And some of those guys have helped a lot starting, of course, with Lionel Messi. But this is a younger guy, and the deals is very interesting. It's come out that basically he'll be here on a loan until 2026, and then at the end of that contract that he still got with Atletico, the Inter Miami is basically obligated to make an extension of his contract. It could become then a 4-year contract, and I think that's where the big money for him will come in. And at that time, maybe a guy like Busquets or Luis Suarez will not be in the roster anymore. Next year. So he's just a guy that could be available for the League's Cup as soon as July 30th. And, they call him El Motorcito, He's like a motor, an engine moving all the time. He's got good size, 5'11", good technical skills and quick, and who works harder than anybody else on the field. So he's got a great connection with Lionel Messi. So right now, we're talking that, Inter Miami's got three of the maybe top 7 or 8 players in MLS. We're talking Messi, number 1. Rodrigo De Paul is going to be number 2 in the league, in my opinion, without a doubt. And then you got Jordi Alba, which should be, I don't know, number 4, number 5, number 6, no worse than number 7 in the league. So, and then, of course, you have Busquets, you have Luis Suarez, some of the young players. So they look pretty strong, even though the last game they didn't do very well with that 3-0 loss to Cincinnati. This Saturday they'll be playing in New York. But we got a lot more things going. What do you have, Tyler?
Yeah, so now we got our fantasy football sleeper segment, and this is somebody we've all heard of, but he's also coming off the worst season of his career. So when I call him a sleeper, I think a lot of people are going to sleep on him, not expect a lot out of him, based off his. Yes, exactly. When the draft comes, they're going to be looking at other people. They're not going to be focused on this guy. Deebo Samuel, like I said, had the worst season of his career, almost half the yardage that he's had in his best years, and he played a full year. Just, was a very tough. The 49ers kind of underwent an offensive change. They stopped using him in motion so much, stopped relying on him as much. A lot of it could have been chalked up to him being out of shape, but I keep up with a lot of the trainers that he works out with, and this guy has been busting his butt all summer. We know what he's capable of, and at the end of the day, somebody who's not even 30 years old, very good football player, and he's going to the Washington Commanders, who are, a team on the rise, that I would say a Super Bowl contender at this point, definitely based off their performance last season, how Jaden Daniels looked, and, that's a team where he could fit right in and be another reliable target for a great young quarterback, as opposed to Brock Purdy's a solid quarterback, but at the end of the day, that offense is being kind of catered towards him, where Deebo can kind of fit in, make some plays for you. And again, I call him a sleeper because I think you'll be able to get him pretty late in these drafts. So moving on now, our next special segment, Miami Sports Trivia. We'll let you start off today, so let me know what you got.
I got a question regarding Canes, and this is my Miami Sports Trivia question for you. Who is the UN quarterback with the most passing touchdowns in a career? So you have to think about a guy that stayed there maybe the 4 years, right? So, some of the top, really, really top-notch guys did not stay the 4 years. It's a little help that I'm giving you. So who's the one that's got the most touchdowns in a career for the Canes?
Brad Kaya.
You got number 2. That's number 2. Kaya with actually no, not number 2. Actually number 3. Kaya is number 3 with 69. Number 2 is Ja'Cory Harris with 70. Boy. And number 1 is Ken Dorsey.
Okay, that makes
Dorsey.
Sense.
Yeah. Ken Dorsey from 1999 to 2002, 86 touchdown passes, Tyler. What do you have for me?
Well, Ken, and the best part about Ken Dorsey was he wasn't throwing it to anybody too good, right, on that team?
No.
Just a bunch of nobodies.
They were just guys off the street. Yeah.
Guys that look like you and me out there. Yeah. So, speaking of football, we'll stay on that same tip here. Something that you and I have talked about. I considered, playing some arena football a couple of years back, And it got me curious if Miami has ever had an arena football team. Turns out they've had three. So I want you to just name me one arena football team that has played in Miami, Florida. And I've actually heard of one of these teams.
We're going to be able to educate the fans, but there is no shot of me remembering those three teams, Tyler. I think that you knew that you had me when you looked at the question.
I, I
That you
actually
knew that you had me. I
I
have
actually
no
thought you'd
idea. I
have
can't.
this one. So the first arena football team in Miami was called the Miami Hooters. They were in the Arena
Okay.
Football League. Yeah, actually a fairly successful team.
Did they wear bras? Or-
Well,
no.
no, but they were owned by Hooters. They
Oh
were
yeah,
owned
I
by
know, I
Hooters.
know.
So I didn't know that part. Miami Hooters, the Miami Inferno, and the Miami Sting. They played at they all three of those teams played at the Bank United Center.
There you go. You see, I had no shot. I had no shot. Well, we done it again, Tyler. Abuelo and the Nieto number 45 follows on Facebook, also on TikTok. Subscribe to YouTube. We're also on Spotify or audio version, also on Instagram. Abuelo and the Nieto, thank you for being with us. So, hasta luego. Arrivederci.